With Wednesday revolving around the futures of Connor Bedard and Adam Fantilli, two of New York's teams have first-round picks 2 nights from now, including the New York Rangers. Now, my pick for the Blue Shirts is University of Michigan forward Gavin Brindley. There's Justin Topa. He's got a little bit of a jam, but how about 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Coming up, clutch. Sammy, never think we would see the day that the legend himself, Jim Boeheim, would step away from the SU men's basketball program, but that day has now arrived. The newly named head coach says that his plan has already been put in place. Welcome into your NCC Sports Update. I'm Jeremy Striano. Well, as of 9 p.m. last night, he is back. Judah Mintz will be returning for his sophomore season. But what about the number 2 slot? The second pick belongs to the Anaheim Ducks, and in my opinion, they should look no further than Adam Fantilli. The University of Michigan stud stands at 6'2", so he owns a little bit of height over Connor Bedard. The word I associate with the University of Michigan standout's game is power, not only with his speed, but with the way he also throws the body around. Fantilli can be a key facilitator when playing with forwards such as Trevor Zegras and Mason McTavish. Yes, Wednesday night will belong to Bedard, but do not overlook the former Hobie Baker Award finalist. The Ducks fans will be jumping for joy when he dons the black and orange.
Night, a really good game between these two teams, Jeremy.
Yeah, it was almost a picture-perfect game in terms of a defensive standpoint, but it was that top line for the Catamounts that saw a breakthrough late in the third to walk out of here with a 3-1 win.
Well, Cindy, I'm really keeping my eye on Alyssa Thompson. I think she's just been a real dominant force, only being 18 years old. The former first overall pick, she committed to Stanford, but then decommitted to go play professionally. I really see the changing of the guard at the forward position. You know, we have Alex Morgan, who's been dominant, probably the best striker since Mia Hamm, but I think Alyssa Thompson's going to be an absolute stud, a super sub off the bench. What do you got? We jump to the top of the 7th inning, and look at Julio Rodriguez making a spectacular catch, robbing Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Game remains tied at 0.
Is there a player you can think of that'll make an immediate impact for Red Squad next season?
Sammy, I'm looking, and I got to get on I-81 and get to Baldwinsville because there's a player out there from Baldwinsville who's now a former Notre Dame Fighting Irish player, and I'm talking about J.J. Starling. He's ranked number 1 in the transfer portal, and it just makes sense, right? Bring the Baldwinsville kid here to the Dome. The UConn forward brings a strong style of play similar to Adam Fantilli at Michigan, but is more effective along the far boards. His strongest attribute is his wrist shot, and it's a threat for goaltenders once he enters the slot. For my comparison, I've gone with Winnipeg Jets captain Blake Wheeler. Both are strong wingers who carry a deadly wrist shot in their arsenal. Seeing a strong forward like Wood team up with a dynamic all-around player like Tage Thompson, it'll give Sabres fans flashbacks from the days of Pat LaFontaine. The Maryland-born guard averaged over 16 points in his first season with the Orange and will be an integral part of Audrey's squad next season. He is projected to start in Coach Red's backcourt alongside Baldwinsville native and Notre Dame transfer J.J. Starling.
But it starts with Sini Karjalainen because she's a two-way player, and that's my other point. Turn defense into offense. Have her generate some chances and get some scoring chances for Vermont.
In the Salt Springs neighborhood of Syracuse sits Lemoyne College, the home of the Dolphins. As of May 10th, Lemoyne will be entering Division I status as they are the newest member of the Northeast Conference. Athletics Director Bob Beretta says that it was a successful yet thorough process.
We were contacted by a professional in the industry, serves as a consultant on many different fronts, and wanted to know if we would consider reclassifying, that there were some conferences interested in Lemoyne, if Lemoyne showed an interest in reclassifying to Division I. At the time we said no. It was right before Christmas. We thought about it again. He called us again. We said no again. And then he called a third time right around New Year's. And we said, okay, we'll take a look at it.
It was a process that started shortly after Beretta was hired by Lemoyne. Immediately, Beretta and his staff began to assess what was the best case scenario for Dolphins athletics.
And at that time, the folks that interviewed me talked about, we want to take a look at what's the best fit for Lemoyne. Is it Division III? Is it D2? Is it D1? So when I arrived on campus on May 1st of 2021, I knew that it was something we were going to need to take a look at.
The perks of playing in a new conference include bumps in both enrollment and overall exposure, where the possibilities are endless. Behind me sits Ted Grant Field, which is home to Lemoyne's powerhouse lacrosse program, where they have found a lot of success on the field. Now, have they found success in finding a new rival? Well, Beretta says that one could be just a few miles west.
Obviously, SU has a long tradition of history, but I think that we can carve our own niche here in this market. I think this market can support two Division I institutions. We're never going to be Syracuse. That's not who we are.
Beretta and his staff were driven and determined to make this next step. But what was the real secret?
We stayed several steps ahead of the process because it was our goal to be prepared for success, and if an opportunity were to come to our front porch, that we wanted to have the agency to say yes or no to it, and that's exactly what happened.